3, 2, 1. What's up, gentlemen?
What up?
Ahoy.
How we doing?
Doing great.
Good. Yeah.
So I saw a podcast this week. It wasn't a podcast. It was like a Sirius XM show, and Bruce Campbell was on it, and he was talking about. Shout out to the GOAT, Bruce, by the way.
Oh yeah.
So
Love him.
he was on this XM show, Sirius XM, and he was talking about how there was an idea for a movie that didn't happen, and it's going to haunt me for the rest of my life, I think. It was an idea for Freddy versus Jason versus Ash. I can't remember if we've ever talked about it here before, but...
I don't know if we've talked about that specific one, but I remember hearing about that, yeah.
So apparently he said that it never went anywhere because New Line Cinema, who I guess at the time owned the rights to Freddy and Jason, had strict parameters for how Freddy and Jason were to be handled. Apparently nothing could happen to them. They couldn't die, and the outcomes of the fights couldn't even be determined, like, afterwards. Like, you couldn't know if Ash won, right?
Nice.
And so Bruce Campbell, and I'm assuming Sam Raimi, I'm assuming they were in partnership with it, said no because it was like creatively bankrupt. They were like, what the hell? Like, Ash is the hero. Like, he would have to win this fight. Like, there's just no, that'd be so stupid.
Well, he made a joke. Yeah. And I think he made a joke about or Jason versus Freddy. He's like, I haven't seen it, but I could probably guess how it ends.
Yes.
And he's like, yeah, that's exactly how it ended.
Oh, so you saw this?
Well, because I didn't see the whole thing. I saw an excerpt from said podcast, but yeah.
He called it too. Like, he's like, oh, what happens? One of them dies and then Freddy winks at the end or something. It's like literally exactly what happens. But man, what a fun fucking concept for him. That would have been so much fun had they been able to like just play and like do what they wanted to do. Oh God.
Yep.
In another life, that would have been great.
Yeah.
It was a good interview though. He goes on to talk about the horror genre as a whole and how mainstream it is now, which is actually interesting to hear coming from him because he's like a legend in the horror industry. And I still don't think of horror as mainstream, but he made a really good point, and he's like, it is mainstream. And he says how back in the day you'd literally have like porn on like the bottom rung of like societal like view towards like film, and then one step above that was like horror. Yeah. And like when they came up, it was like really hard to take, like, to be even considered like a serious person coming from the horror genre. And the public perception for it was like not great. And he said now horror movies are just no longer taboo, and he said they're like action movies with blood.
Hasn't it been like that for like all of the 2000s though?
It has, yeah. It's but I still don't think of it though as that, but it is that. It's like and you think about the more and more horror movies we watch, the three of us or whatever, it always feels like that. They're always just like okay, whatever. That wasn't like, I feel like the true horror movies are no longer really a thing. That's why we were all hyped about Longlegs. Like, it had the makings of that. Late Night with the Devil, I would say, is probably like a more old school type of horror movie, but like the majority of them are just like he said, just action movies with blood. It's bizarre. So I thought that was a pretty cool interview. You guys should check it out. I don't remember what it was, but you could probably just search Bruce Campbell, Sirius XM or something. I think it's the show that not Ed Norton. Who's the comedian, the bald guy, Norton something or other? Jim Norton. I think it's the show that he's on, Sirius XM. It's like his co-host or something. But yeah, so that was interesting. I wanted to bring that up.
What the hell are we supposed to use, man? Harsh language?
But welcome back, folks, to the Harsh Language Podcast. This is episode 117, boys.
Nice.
We're cruising.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Before you know it, it's going to be 200. I feel like it took forever to get to 100. Now I feel like we're just cruising through.
Took a little while, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It took like 2 years. Well, I mean.
A little over, I think.
No, I thought it was less.
Well, there's 52 weeks in a
52
year.
weeks. It should be 2 years.
So it'd be 104 if we didn't miss any weeks, and we missed a lot.
All right, way to point out the fact that I'm terrible at math, guys. Thanks. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, it was obvious to both of us, but not to Dan.
Hey, I'm artistic, okay? But yeah. So episode 117, we got The Substance today. We're talking about a little bit later on the show. Speaking of horror movies that are action movies with blood, Demi Moore possibly going to win her first Oscar or get nominated.
If that even happens.
If she gets nominated. Oh, if the Oscars happen, you mean?
That's correct.
Really? Are they like in danger of not happening?
Oh, because of the fires or something?
Oh, that's right. I didn't even think of that.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Did not think of that. Well, either way, she's being critically praised for her role in this, so we're going to talk about that a little bit later. Stick around if you want to hear our thoughts, or just skip ahead. How's your week been, gentlemen?
It's been good.
Yeah?
I've been watching some stuff.
Ooh, did I watch some stuff, boy? Ooh, shit. What'd you get into, Marvin?
I just finished Silo, started Severance.
Nice.
Which we'll talk about later, probably.
Yeah.
But I also
still haven't finished Silo.
Oh man, fuck.
Damn.
I actually was excited to talk about it, but that's okay. We can wait.
You fucked up.
I also watched
I did. I was watching Severance all week.
I'm kidding.
Yeah, he had to catch up on that Severance. What is it called? I put it in the chat.
Start Landman yet?
No.
Scavenger's Reign.
Oh yeah. You've been hyping that shit the last couple days.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
That show is the best animation that I've seen since like Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Really?
It's really good. Sadly, I just found out that there's not going to be a second season as of right now, but maybe some billionaire will pick it up or something. Bezos.
Nah, they're busy running the country now. Don't be sad that it's over, Marvin. Be happy that it happened.
I'm extremely happy that it happened.
Speaking of animations, great. I have no desire anymore to really watch animations. They're like few and far between. But
I started.
Yeah, I started watching My Adventures of Superman because I just need me some more Superman in my life. I had watched a couple episodes and I just kind of like forgot about it. It's actually a pretty good show, honestly. If you're like a Superman fan.
That's the anime one?
Yeah, it's like it's like got that new like Zoomer style of like animation going for it. And Jack Quaid, the guy from The Boys, is voices Superman. It's just
that's an interesting choice.
It's really good actually, and it like pretty accurately it like depicts Superman in a pretty accurate way, which I'm pretty on board with.
Dennis's kid, right?
Yes.
I have that on my watch list along with a bunch of other big name animation shows. Like I haven't watched The Terminator yet. There's a Laura Croft.
I started that actually.
I don't know if that's
the Terminator one
yet.
And the Gremlins one that had come out that I forgot about.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. I've watched that, but yeah.
Is
I haven't really watched anything.
The new Witcher one's coming out. Sirens of the Deep.
Yeah.
And they got my boy Doug. My boy Doug, the voice actor, the Geralt that I know and love, doing the voice. So that I'm excited for. And also I don't know if it's out yet, but the Lord of the Rings, the War of the Rohirrim. You said you watched that, right? And you said it was okay?
I mean, I put it on while I was cooking dinner and doing stuff. I kind of paid attention to it, but I didn't get to sit down and watch it. It was just on in the living room while I was in the kitchen, but they're like joined. So I caught most of it. It's pretty good, but I can't really review it having not sat down and watched it.
So what's the show about, Marvin, this one that you were watching?
So I was fresh off of Silo and I was like, I want to watch more.
A little closer? There you go.
Sure. I want to watch more like sci-fi Fallout-esque shows.
Yeah, you're getting that headspace after you watch some shit that's good, right?
Yeah, so that's exactly what I looked for, like shows like Fallout, and this one came up and I was like looking at it, and then I found out I was reading about it, and I saw that it was animated, and I was like, I don't know. But I'm definitely glad that I went through with it because
what's it called again?
It's called Scavenger's Reign.
Scavenger's Reign. I'll add that to my list.
So premise is just a group of people crash landing on a strange planet, but there's like a lot of story that happens and character development, and the voice acting is really good. The art style is amazing. And I really enjoyed it.
Nice.
I binged it in like maybe 2 days, I think.
So easy watch.
Yeah, because it's like 30-minute episodes, so it's really quick.
That's easy.
Yeah.
Jericho is a pretty good show, Marvin. If it's only like 2 seasons, I think, because they canceled or 2.5 seasons. But the first season's really good. It's like it's a guy goes back home to a small town, live action, and when he does, like bombs go off, and so it's like what happens to the small town in the shadow of a world war that just or a nuclear holocaust that just popped off. It's pretty good.
What platform is this on?
Netflix.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Yeah, that's a Netflix show. But like I said, fuck Netflix for canceling it. But I guess thanks for doing it once.
Yeah, you got one.
Really good show. It's it's amazing. And it's like, it's animated, but it's like, it's for adults. Like, it's not like a kid's show. Like,
adult
blood,
animation.
there's cursing and all that good stuff.
What did you watch this week, Dusty? I know you watched Severance season 1 to prepare for season 2. We'll talk about that in a bit, but did you watch anything else?
Yes, finally, Christina finally finished season 1 of Shrinking, so got to move on to season 2. So it's funny seeing our boy Roy Kent playing a little softy. That was wild. So yeah, I'm not through it yet, but I'm into it.
He played the
he's
guy.
From Ted he's Roy Kent in Ted Lasso. I don't remember his acting or his real name, but Roy Kent was his character name in Ted Lasso.
Got it.
Because he's got a beard and he just grunts and growls and he's an asshole. So seeing him play like that apologetic softy type was like a kind of took me back a bit.
So Christine watched the first season of Shrinking, and then you guys caught up to season 2 and like finished it.
No, we're about halfway through season 2.
Oh, okay.
So not done with it yet, but working on it.
Me and Nick talk about it all the time when we hang out because Nick was really into it, and in front of our buddy George, and George just sat down to start watching it. He actually sent us a message the other day. He was like, "Fuck you guys for making me watch this." He's like, "It's so emotional." I was like, "Yeah, man."
Shrinking? Oh yeah.
Yeah. It's great, but it's like good kind of emotional because like it's not depressing. It is depressing, but it's also it's like more happy than sad. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, it's hilarious too. Like
it's
a roller coaster of emotions, and it doesn't stop. You just keep like you get hit in the gut with the feels, and then immediately you're forced to laugh at something that's funny.
Yeah. Anything else you watched, Dusty?
No, not that I can think of. No,
I finished.
That's about it.
So I finished Silo. Fantastic. We'll talk about that next week. Hopefully, if you finish it.
Yeah. I'll finish it, yeah.
But I binged the new season of Goosebumps. I think last time we recorded, I was telling you guys I think I might check it out because it looked good.
Yeah.
And it was pretty good. The first season I never finished because it was like really just bad, like not good at all. Like writing was bad, acting was terrible. It was about like high school kids, and they hired these actors who were like clearly like in their mid to late 20s to play teenagers.
Yeah.
And I was just like,
man,
a
trope.
I know, but it was like, it was worse than the trope though. It was like real bad and jarring, and I just couldn't do it. I couldn't finish it. And I'm a completionist, like to a point where like it's like a form of like autism, I think, that I have, where I gotta like, if I start something, like I have to finish it. I don't know what it is, but this was one of the few times
I'll drop that shit.
Yeah, I pulled the plug, baby. Yeah. I could not finish it, so I went into season 2 a little bit hesitant. But I had a little bit of a better cast that I was familiar with some of the people. I was like, I'll give it a shot. Similarly,
so you didn't finish the season 1?
I did not finish season 1. No.
Oh,
but this is not that. These are not connected seasons. They're just stories within the Goosebumps universe, right?
Yep.
And this one is based on the book with the plant. Remember when the plant like takes over the dad? I forget the name of it. It was like "Don't Go in the Basement" or something like that, I think was the name of the book.
I'm not.
Well, it was good. I actually enjoyed it. The writing and acting was still like a little not great, but it's TV-14, and it's so it's clearly geared towards younger audiences. So I don't expect it to be like, you know, fucking Sopranos level writing and acting and stuff like that. But, and I don't know if I'm just giving it a cop out or if they did it on purpose, but it really reminded me of like 90s television. It reminded me of the old Goosebumps. When
was the last time you watched the original?
Forever, like maybe 20 years ago.
Like
I don't know.
2 or 3 seasons, I think, right?
Yeah, I couldn't remember. But it reminded me of like those older like Nickelodeon shows, and I really enjoyed it. So I feel like they did it a little bit on purpose, that they like amped up the cheese a little bit to kind of make it feel like it was from the 90s.
Yeah.
It was good. Way better than the first season. David Schwimmer was like pretty charming and did a lot of heavy lifting because he's a good actor. Mm-hmm. But yeah, overall I enjoyed it. So if you're looking for something fun that you could just like turn your brain off to watch, it was pretty good. And there are some like pretty genuinely like creepy moments in it too. It's not scary, but it's like creepy for kids. Like if you're like a teen watching it or something.
Yeah.
So I enjoyed that.
I was talking to C about maybe watching it.
Yeah, it was fun.
So yeah, maybe we'll check it out.
It's funny because it's got this thing where it like it's like where it's written by like people who like are like trying to write in how they think kids talk, you know?
Yeah.
But they're doing it for Zoomers, so it's like extra funny. There's one kid in the show, he's saying things like Zoomer shit, and it's like it's totally out of place and doesn't fit. It was very bizarre, but I think it was on purpose.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so that was fun. I would suggest it. What else?
Yeah, I got stuff in front of that I feel like that I would probably want to watch.
It's not a like, you know, rush out to watch it type of thing.
Yeah, I did try to start watching X-Files again, and I got through one episode, but not just because I don't like the show. But
I know it's a lot of work. You gotta just.
It's a lot to watch.
Like, think of it this way: it's like rock climbing, right? If you look down, you're fucked. You can't think ahead about like how much you got to watch ahead of you. You got to just buckle in, enjoy the ride, and just watch it.
Yeah. Yep. But I just think of all the other shit that I could watch.
But guess what? Half of that other shit you're going to watch is not going to be as good as X-Files. Think of that.
Yeah, but I finished an episode of X-Files, and that's when I was like, man, I want to watch some sci-fi stuff. And that's when I found
that's fair. That's fair.
Other show.
Your journey, Marvin.
Yeah.
Do it at your own pace, you know?
Yeah.
So what else? Silo, obviously Severance, which we'll talk about in a second. Oh boy. So Ed and I, shout out to Ed.
Shout out.
We were hanging out the other night on Discord, and I was like, I'm in the mood to watch something. I was like, you want to watch something? He's like, yeah. What do you want to watch? I was like, I don't know. Let's look through and see. And we're scrolling. He's like, oh, I haven't seen Venom yet. The Last Dance. You want to watch that? I was like, yeah, whatever. I'm sure it's not good. Wow. That's all I got to say about it is wow. That is...
It's much better than you thought, right?
Hey, without... Listen to me. I know I say this a lot, and it probably has lost its meaning. It is, without question, one of the worst movies I've ever seen in my life. You watched it,
right? It can't be
Dusty?
that bad.
Marvin.
It's fucking Venom. There's no way it's that bad.
Dusty, please back.
This is your...
I don't give a fuck if it's
elitist
successful.
mind coming in play here. I don't believe it for
Dusty,
a second. It's that bad.
It's a fun little movie. I mean, it's Venom.
See,
like it's
fun little movie. There it is.
Yeah.
No. Bro.
That's all I need.
It is bad. But Marvin, watch it. I dare you. I dare you to watch this. It's so bad. Dusty, come on. Back me up here, please.
He just said it was a fun little movie.
It's not fun. I mean, There's nothing fun about it.
I sat through the entirety of Madam Web, so this is way better than that.
Dusty said it was better than. I mean, Ed said it was better than Craven, which he saw.
I saw both. Yeah, it's better than Craven.
Interesting, man. I don't understand what's going on. CGI is somehow getting worse. As I don't know what's going on. I saw a thread actually on Twitter. I should have bookmarked it because it was like somebody who posted something from like the 90s, and he was like, 90s special effects was better. Prove me wrong. I was like, all right, I guess I can't. Bro, the CGI in this movie was like laughable. Like it was so bad.
I think they're trying to do too much.
Yeah, everything's done in front of a green screen now. It's all CGI. That's like the live action Lion King that's fucking all CGI. There's no live action in it at all. I don't even think they filmed outside. So yeah, I don't. Practical effects and VFX with a little CGI is great.
Yeah. So now I could say that I've seen all 3 Venom films, and I did not like any of them.
Wow.
Good.
This can't be true.
Marvin, it was so bad. You thought Carnage was bad. This was like, I think worse than that, honestly. At least that had some sort of like plot that sort of moved along. This was just like a non-plot. It was nothing happened in this. It was like they're being, first of all, I'm just gonna spoil it. I don't give a fuck. So it opens up with Null, who is a new Marvel character. He came out in 2018, and he's supposed to be like the god of like the symbiotes.
He created the symbiotes and the sword, whatever. Yeah,
he's been around since before the universe itself. And he's trapped in this fucking void, trying to get out of it. Okay. You don't see his fucking face for the entirety of the movie, and you're thinking, wow, this is the big bad. This is the last fucking movie. We're going to get a crazy blowout with this big bad. Nope. He never once leaves his chair. You see him, he's on screen for a total of probably like a minute throughout the course of the movie. And the last moment of the movie, he just lifts his head up in the stinger and is like, and no shit, Marvin, looked worse than a PS2 cutscene from a video game. I couldn't believe it. I mean, I didn't expect a lot from this movie, but it was just worse than I thought.
Yeah.
Poor Tom Hardy. He must have been broke. He must have lost all that Dark Knight money, bro. I don't know. Like,
I think it was just a love affair with the character, kind of like Channing doing Gambit. Even if the movie sucked, he would have kept doing it.
I guess so. Man, I don't know. I don't even know what to say about it. Terrible movie. Can't believe it.
Or Andrew Garfield making Spider-Man movies.
Wow. Anyway, let's talk about the big thing this week, which was episode 1 of season 2 of Severance.
Sir.
We waited for this for a long time.
2 years.
Yeah, and it's finally here. What'd you
3, I think.
Yeah, actually, I think it was about 3 years, right?
Maybe. I'm not sure.
It was a long time. 3 years.
What'd we think?
Because of the strike and everything.
It was fucking great. That opening sequence where he goes straight to his, heavy spoilers, obviously. We're talking about the first episode of Severance.
Yep.
Season 2.
Yep. Turn away now if you don't want to be spoiled.
It opens up, he straight into, I think there's a little bit of like you hearing the voices or something like that of like him saying like, she's alive and all that. But he goes down the elevator, wakes up as Mark S, and he's running to go find his wife that he thought, he didn't know he even had a wife until
right. Well, let's recap, right?
Yeah.
Dusty, hold on a second. Sorry. You just watched season 1 in like a week. We told you to prepare. What did you think of season 1? Did you love it as much as we did?
No.
Really?
It's a good show. I don't think it's transformational television. The likes of I thought it was good, but it was slow start, slow burn. Felt to me like
it is a slow burn. Yeah,
that's crazy.
It's like they're purposefully misdirecting you and wasting time on things like walking down endless hallways for 5 minutes in an episode. I don't know. I like the show. The story is good. It feels like almost like a slower version of like The Walking Dead sometimes, the way they build up the episode and then drag it out and then cliffhanger it and then again, I like the show. It's good. I'm going to continue to watch it and I will enjoy it, but a few gripes. I don't think it's not the greatest thing that I've ever seen.
Okay.
It is good television though. I enjoyed it.
Yeah. Okay.
Wow. It's not the greatest thing I've ever seen either, but it's definitely the greatest thing that I've seen in like the last 5 years or more.
I would agree with Marvin. It's the greatest thing. Let's all just say it's the greatest thing since Better Call Saul.
Yes.
Yeah, that was like the last like holy fuck TV show.
Yes. Honestly, we'll talk about Silo as far as the actual episodes.
I don't think Silo's on that level, but Silo's very good.
Silo, yeah, exactly. Well, Silo was close.
Yeah.
Especially with the building that they were doing, but yeah.
Okay, so that's out of the way. Marvin, you were saying it opens up, we come right back. So if you remember the big cliffhanger season 1 ended on, it was crazy. They all the innies created a plot to figure out to detach themselves, to actually activate in the outside world so they could figure out the fuck is going on. And each character has a pretty traumatic experience with it for themselves. Mark S., the main character, they're all the main character, but Adam Scott, the star, he comes out of it at his Audi's sister's house, like a party that was set up throughout the course of the season, and he sees a picture of his Audi's dead wife, whom the innie realizes is the fucking brain wipe doctor inside the office.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
CJ or whatever.
Yeah.
Miss Casey. So Miss Casey in the office, she's the one that like does their like what does she do? She runs like their like a
it's wellness. It's their wellness
room, but it's really like the punishment room, or so we think, right? Isn't that where they go to get like
No, the wellness,
there's the break room and the wellness room. She gives them affirmations. Yourself is great. Yourself is amazing. Yourself,
it's all positive.
She does
stuff,
positive,
but they can't react
any
differently to any of it. It's hilarious.
So that's a big mystery. Like, why is she pretending to be dead? Why is the company making it as if she's dead and keeping her from the Audi Mark S? Like, what's the deal with that? So that was like his thing. Dylan, he realizes he has a family on the outside, and he's just like, I want to meet my kids. I want to meet my family. So that's like his deal. John Turturro's character Irving, he has I don't know if they're in like a relationship like officially. I don't think they are, but he's like definitely crushing on Christopher Walken's Annie Bert. Yeah. And Bert's retiring, and so Irving wants to find Bert on the outside and does find him.
He fucks up the whole mission.
Whole mission, realizes Bert has like a life and like a family on the outside, and he's with somebody, and that's crushing to Irving. Yes. But Irving also wakes up in his Audi's apartment and sees like the artwork of a madman.
The tormented soul.
Yeah, just
drinks coffee and paints the same picture all day long until he goes to work.
Dark.
It's very weird that like he clearly is like going through something, but why would he continue to work at the place that's causing the like you would think he would put two and two together somewhat. Like obviously he doesn't know exactly what all goes down there, but
and
come on, man.
Helly, she probably has like other than Adam Scott, she probably has the craziest little story that turns out she wakes up at this fucking like
Met Gala.
What do they call it when they raise money for a fundraiser? Oh, thanks, Windows.
Charity event.
Yeah, like and it turns out she's the daughter of
she's an Egan.
Like the CEO of the company. She's an Egan.
The last name doesn't even start with an R.
No, and it's like, oh fuck. And she has that oh fuck moment. And she's like, holy fuck, like I'm a part of this. Turns out she's like doing the anything as like an experiment. I think she's trying to like prove to the outside world that it's not.
It's propaganda. There's no experiment about it. It's just straight up propaganda. It's just straight
propaganda that like, see, I'm doing it. Like we treat them right.
It's fine. Everything's good. Yeah.
Look, all these pictures of her, of me smiling on the inside. It's wonderful. They're having a great time.
Yeah, dude, that was,
So that's how the season ends, season 1. So season 2 begins, Marvin started discussing it. Mark S wakes up in the elevator and he's like, oh fuck, like what's going on?
I gotta go see her.
And he's running through the hallways trying to find his people. And it turns out that they just replaced the team with like some random people, which was
my God,
really fucking funny. That old guy was so funny.
What was it? Mark,
the other Mark,
something I forgot.
And the few interactions with the little girl who was like the new manager was so funny. Where they just why are
you a child?
Why are you a child? And she's like, it's because when I was born. It was so fucking funny. That's why I think, Dusty, to respond to what you said about it, I think the show is so good because it effortlessly goes from comedy to sci-fi to drama, but like being it all at the same time. It's very weird. I've never really seen it done in a way where it's like every genre at once, and it like comes in and out of each genre almost the way we see the innies waking up in the elevator. Because I think those shots are like brilliantly done. Like he goes in the elevator, he shuts off, and then wakes up and he's back in, because that's what they experience. They experience going to sleep, waking up instantly. There's no in between for them. It's weird. So I think the themes of the show transition in that way too. It's really cool the way they do it. So that's why I think it's fantastic. Personally, it's like my favorite thing about it. But now this episode has set up some interesting stuff. So basically, the course of this episode is Mark trying to figure out like what the fuck happened. I guess we find out that like it's been about 5 months since
5 months. Yeah.
Since the end of the first episode. We get our boy
Mr. Milkshake is now running.
What were they calling
MDR?
Him? What was the mispronunciation of it? Mr.
Milkshake?
Mr. Milkshake.
Yeah.
Mr. Milkshake is now in
He's
Patricia
the head of MDR.
Yeah, he took over for Patricia Arquette's character, who fuck knows what she was up to now. And he's spinning a story that like you guys started this like uprising and we went public with it, and because of what you guys did, we're like completely restructuring how we treat innies and all this crazy shit.
So fake, which is all fake news, by the way.
So fake, yeah.
Like the picture, I don't know if you saw the newspaper clipping or the newspaper. Like the cars that they're in is like JFK era fucking cars.
Yeah, I saw that.
It's black and white, like it's clearly like photoshopped or something, right?
Yeah,
like, and he's trying to pass it off as the real story. It's like that. Yeah. That did not happen. I don't know what the cover up was to what happened, or even if because Haley R, she went on stage and like was saying like we're treated like shit and this is terrible and all that.
Yep.
But I don't know if we don't know yet if any of that made it to the news or to the outside of that convention or what.
Well, I'm curious what the whole mystery of it is. Because like I was really taken by the show in the first season because it was a really interesting concept. Like I've never seen anything like this before. Of like, you know, the concept of like two separate individuals, but they're the same person. Really, they're not the same, but they're the same. It's really cool.
The concept immediately like brings you in because you think like, I wonder what my innie would be like if I was severed. It
also raises a lot of like philosophical questions and things like about like just nature and all that stuff. Yes. And it's really interesting. But in this world of the show, it's a known thing. The public knows that this technology exists. There's
protesters, everything.
There's protesters. This company has offices all over the world where seemingly they have this department where people could work as innies.
You guys have an elevator? We had a rope.
Yeah. And it's not that, and they're not forced into it by any means. They choose to do it.
No.
So the morality of the show is centered around the fact of like these are two separate individuals despite having the same body, and one individual is powerless and at the will and the whim of the other individual, because the outie controls and makes all the decisions for the innie. Technically the innie has no control over anything.
They can't even quit if they wanted to.
And so that's the concept of the show, is that it's basically forced slavery to this completely separate person.
Yes.
And like them trying to fight it. But there is some bigger mystery to the whole thing that they're not showing us yet. I'm really curious to see what that is. What's the secret? Like, what are they hiding, really? What's the company do? Why are they so secretive about it? There's got to be more to it than what meets the eye here.
Yeah, what's the meaning behind the numbers? Why does Totoro start dreaming of black ooze every time he falls asleep? Is that just the paint?
Yeah,
he's painting every night. Like, there's a lot of weird unanswered stuff that maybe will be revealed, or maybe
Irv is trying to. You kind of get the sense that he's trying to figure out what is going on down there, because that's why he's drinking coffee to sleep deprive his innie.
Yep.
And like he's doing all this research on what goes on there. So he's definitely trying to figure out what they're doing down there. But
I think it's a really brilliant show. And now Patricia Arquette Harmony, obviously she's not gone. Like she's coming back. Where is she? What's she up to? What was she even doing? She was like some sort of fucking spy or something. Like, what was she doing? Why was she living next to him and like keeping tabs on him? It's very bizarre.
Well, it seems like where he lives is where those employees live.
Yeah, it's like a neighbor. It's almost like a military base where like you just live on base.
He says it's subsidized by the company,
exactly.
Lumen.
Mm-hmm.
But so like, and then you would think like you would have some sort of, you know, inclination that you could be working next door to your boss and you don't know it. Right?
Yeah.
But that doesn't factor in anything he's doing. So
yeah.
Or the guy in the season 1, his best friend that died. Like they just ended that storyline. We're gonna find out.
Right.
What?
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. A lot of unanswered strings, I guess. Is kind of why it needs, I don't know.
Well, you gotta strap in, man. You can't get it all answered in one go. But yeah, this first episode, it was really good. It didn't really do like a ton other than like a little bit of just like world building of like, here we are now, we're 5 months later. We tried to replace your team. Didn't work out because you threw a fit. So here's your people back.
Mm-hmm.
We have some office changes. We removed the cameras and like you got...
Which is a lie, I think.
Yeah, of course. Here's a new manager. We're creating a room for you to like have visitations, Audi visitations, but don't tell anybody else because they might get jealous.
That's typical triangulation. It's fucking manipulation.
Oh yeah, you're turning everybody against you. Turning people against each other. Yeah.
Yeah. I am surprised that he let them. Like obviously they would have to bring the group back because that's what everyone wants. But I'm surprised that he did that to like what's the reason that they want Mark to stay so badly down there?
Mark is I was going to say when I was talking about the mystery of it all, Mark is for sure the central like element to whatever's going on because Patricia Arquette was living next door to him clearly for surveillance. But I don't know if the company knew that she was doing that. They kind of leave it like they kind of make it seem like they didn't know she was doing that because now she's fired and all this stuff, but maybe they just separated her so he forgets about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So who knows really what she was up to, but the wife thing, like why would that be a cover up that she's not dead? Like he seems to be the central figure of what's going on somehow.
I'm not sure if he's the central. I just feel like they're just using her like just as another experiment for their testing their chip that they put in people's heads.
Maybe, yeah.
I think she's like her Audi is like in a coma or something, so that's why.
Oh, maybe. That's actually another really interesting thing that you just brought up, right? Because we don't even know what being in a coma is, like scientifically. Like we know what it is, but we don't really like fully understand it.
Yeah.
And so like in this world, like if your Audi's in a coma, why does that like could your innie be awake? Like you know what I mean? Like obviously a coma is like some severe head trauma that you would think like you can't like wake out of, but you know, in the sci-fi world, like maybe it's not that, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but exactly.
If you're in a coma, you would have to have somebody cart you in and out of the elevator, right, to wake you up, right? Like
well,
you couldn't leave.
Not if she doesn't ever leave there.
Yeah,
that's what we're led to believe, that she doesn't leave Lumen. Like they talk about it in the first season. There's like the theory that like Pete draws the map, right? And there's like a section on the map where it's like people live here, question mark, question mark, question mark. So it's like there's theories that there's severed people that don't ever actually have like Audis or regular lives, I guess. Like they just stay there forever.
Well, yeah, you wouldn't know.
You wouldn't know, yeah.
So
yeah.
A lot of interesting stuff. You know, on episode 1 wasn't like too meaty, like I said. It just did some world building stuff. Like here's where we are. Here's where the state of our characters.
It was enough though.
It was enough. Yeah.
The most interesting thing to me that I'm still a little bit confused about is Helly R. And
well, she's lying.
If that's Helly R or if that's fucking Helena.
See, now that's a good theory.
Helena pretending to be Helly R.
That's a good theory.
Or is she like trying to just hide that she's related to them?
That's a good theory.
It could be both.
It could go either way.
The way they wrote it in her dialogue was like perfect.
Yes. I didn't actually even think that being a possibility. I just assumed automatically that she was trying to hide it from them because she didn't want to like, you know, get them to turn on her or whatever. But that's actually a really interesting theory. Like, it could just be Helena being like trying to just pretend.
She's trying to be a spy, like trying to.
Yeah. That could be too.
And as far as her like hugging Mark S, and I mean, they knew they had pictures of them kissing, so they could have just prepped her like, hey, you have a romantic. Your Innie has a romantic thing with this guy, like.
Yeah, totally.
So I don't know.
There's cameras everywhere. She could just be fed the feed and do her.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, they did that in a really good way. And I obviously those other characters aren't just one-offs too. They're going to make a reappearance. So I'm curious what their role in it is. They might be like, spoilers. You know what I mean? They might be not. I'm not saying spoilers for us. I'm saying they might be like spoilers for our characters, like trying to fuck up their whole partnership that they got going on and stuff like that.
Yeah. It was interesting because obviously Irv is the one that's been down there the longest, and he's like technically the oldest.
Yep.
Innie.
Yep.
Some of those new people though were like kind of young.
Yeah.
It seems because they were surprised by how long Mark S had been there and all that. So
yeah, it was a good episode.
I don't even know
though.
if they came from like a different state or a different whatever.
Didn't they say they came from a different branch?
They said a different branch, but I'm just.
Oh yeah, we don't know where the branch is, right? True.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So
but we do know there's other lumens with other severed floors.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So. Yeah, that's the other thing too. Is like what is the expanse of this? What is the reach of this company?
And that's the original one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the original one.
So I'm thinking that's not like a recreation of his house. That's got to be like they built it around the house, right?
That would make sense, actually. Yeah, I didn't think about that.
What do you mean?
The house that he has the waffle party.
Yeah.
Yeah, the waffle party.
The house
thing.
that they go to. Yeah, they get the waffle party.
There's a lot of subtext to this show too, obviously, about like working in what it is to work in like corporate America. And
it's the same premise, like even sorry to cut you off. The whole severed notion is like when you go into work, you're not the same exact person as you know what I mean? Like it's the same thing, but just
especially when you work in an office.
Yeah.
Like I work, you guys know that I worked, I don't know if I've ever said it on the show. I used to work at Geico many years ago. And funny enough, I worked in like the original Geico building. There's only a couple of offices in America, and I worked in the original one here on Long Island.
Yeah.
And like the way that, like, obviously this show plays it up, but this is what it feels like to go work in an office building.
100%.
Like you, like literally you walk.
This is like code switching.
You depressively walk through the parking lot. I used to fantasize about throwing myself in front of like a car in the parking lot in the morning. Like, all right, if I could just fucking, I'll get hit, it'll be fine, I'll recover, and then I could sue the company for like unsafe parking lot, and then I could fucking retire. Like, I swear to God, it literally sucks the fucking life out of you working in this environment, and like you go through those doors, and it really is. It's just like it's like a whole fucking different person, and you're like, fuck, here I am. You walk through your cubicle, and you hear people like fucking worker bees saying the same thing over and over again every day. Hi, thanks for calling Geico. How can I help you? I had a dream about Geico last night, actually. No shit.
Fuck that.
Not even joking. I was back working at Geico. I just remembered it now. And I was like,
try to jump out the fucking window?
No, thanks for calling Geico. This is Dan. How can I help you? And like, oh my God. I literally wanted to like, I'm not going to say what I'm going to say. I'm obviously joking. I didn't really want to do that. But like, it makes you feel like shit to work in this type of environment. And the guy, what's his name, who plays Milkshake, does such a
plays it so good.
His name is Tramell Tillman. He does such a good job of playing like the boss who does not give a fuck about you, but pretends to. Like,
oh God,
and I know that firsthand. Every manager you talk about, hey Dan, you're doing such a great job, and we really value you, but like you got to do this a little bit. It's like, you don't value me. If I died in the seat, you'd fucking there'd be a pit that opened up below me. I would drop into it, and another me would fall out of the ceiling. Like
that's it.
So this show does a really great job, and it speaks to this question of like. Human, like, it's not a question. I think it's just an objective truth. Human beings are not meant to do this. Like,
for sure,
be stuffed in a cubicle and like just drone on every fucking day and like do this shit. Like, you're meant to have freedoms of choice and just happiness and like, you know, God-given freedoms. Yeah. It's just, I don't know. The show, I think the show is just great. There's like so much to it. It's a very, very good show. And I'm excited to keep watching it. Did you guys have anything else you wanted to say about this episode specifically before we move on?
Oh man. I'm glad that Irv did not try to quit, essentially, because quitting is dying as an innie, as they portray so wonderfully in the show. Like you really understand that if you quit, that's it. You just die. Like the other innies will never see you again, right?
The innie
like,
dies, yeah.
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm glad that Irv came back.
Yeah,
that was good to see.
A couple of funny things I wanted to mention. I don't know if you guys saw this or not, but one of which was Christopher Walken.
Living in the past.
Yeah, he said that he hasn't seen every episode of the show because I forget his quote, but he doesn't have
any gear. He doesn't have
the gear you need to watch it, but they sent him DVDs, he said, to watch it.
To which they followed up with, do you have an Apple Plus subscription? And he's like, I don't have anything. They sent me some DVDs. That's it.
Did you guys see the AI thing that replaced him in the opening with Keanu Reeves?
No.
Oh,
in the opening.
Yeah. Let's see if I can find it.
But Walken and John Turturro are old friends.
Yeah.
And John Turturro specifically requested Walken. He pitched Walken for the role of Bert.
Oh.
This is a AI.
Oh, this is funny.
That like perfectly replaced him with Keanu Reeves. Like it's indistinguishable. This is a very scary technology that's upon us. And then one other thing that I took note of was, speaking of that opening scene, it took, apparently, the opening scene of Severance season 2 took 5 months to film. Adam Scott says he was inspired by Tom Cruise's Running.
Oh, I saw this.
How much of that, what do you think was a oneie?
Not a lot of it. A lot of it was CGI. You could tell, like the way his face was done.
Some of it,
it looked like he was running around around green props. Like when he was running around the corners and stuff, and the camera's flipping. But it felt like, I don't know. It felt when it started out, it could have been a oneie, like part of it at least.
Yeah. No, I don't think. No, I think it was like spliced together for sure, especially saying that it took 5 months to film. Like they probably segmented it. A lot of the transitions around him were probably CG and all that stuff. So yeah, I don't think any of it was probably a oneer. But yeah, it was a great episode. And I'm very happy that it's back. We're going to be covering it every week, folks. We committed. And it comes out every Friday. So next episode is January 24th. We record on Mondays. So and our episodes come out on Tuesday of every week. So the Tuesday after every episode, we'll have our thoughts on the previous episode. So subscribe to the channel if you want to join in on the conversation about Severance, and let us know what you thought of episode 1 down in the comments, and leave a like and do all that cool stuff. So stay tuned for more coverage of Severance season 2. I guess we can get into some news, Dusty. What else is going on this week? Our fascistic overlords are in place. Did anything else happen, or?
Yeah. They've already been in place. They were already in place. Out with the old, in with the new. Old boss, same as the new boss, or new boss, same as the old boss.
That's true.
Going back to what we read, or what I brought up, the 97th Academy Awards is in limbo. Red carpet events and other similar related festivities related to film and the movie industry continue to get canceled because of the fires in LA. And that could continue through Oscar season. Apparently, Stephen King has said publicly that he will not be voting and he will not be attending, and he hopes everybody does the same. So Demi Moore is not getting his vote. He's a voter for the Academy Awards, and he will not be voting.
As like a protest?
Yeah, because as a protest, it shouldn't happen, and so he's just not even going to vote. Which I think is wild. Like,
wait, what shouldn't happen? Why?
The Oscars in general, I guess he's saying, because of the fires. Like, we should be focusing on, LA and instead of celebrating like the excesses of Hollywood.
I hate to do this like Pain Olympics thing, like where people compare tragedies, but like people have been getting bombed in Palestine for the last however the fuck long, and this has been business as usual. So I mean, let's that's my thought.
Yeah, I don't know why.
That's all I got.
I think it's pretty dumb that you would cancel. Like, I mean, yes, it's devastating, and well, I think they're saying like $5 billion. This is the largest dollar amount of a natural disaster that we've had in the U.S.
Fucking inflated California home prices. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and then it's the Palisades. Like 9 out of 10 of those people are rich and could rebuild tomorrow if they were able to hire a construction company to build a home, which is hard to find out here right now. And then the price of wood and lumber is going to skyrocket. But I mean, that 10th person who bought their house, 40 years ago and is just sitting on it, doesn't have a lot of money. Everything was in their home and they lost their home. So they lost all their money. And because they didn't have insurance, they're fucked. Like, I feel bad for those guys, but the people that are millionaires that can afford to rebuild and move anywhere they want and have homes in other states, like, I don't feel bad for them. And I don't think there's a need to stop and console them and not say, hey, you were in this movie. We're not going to have a red carpet for it because your house burned down and we feel bad about your house and we need to focus on your house when you can afford to buy 10 houses. Like, I think that's kind of fucking stupid, but he's not the only one. Gene Smart of Hacks and Rosanna Arquette, they all have similar sentiments. They are calling for canceling the Oscars this year. So yeah, we might not even have him.
Yeah, there's other Oscar controversies. This obviously is the biggest, and it is, I agree. I get where you're coming from too, Marvin, but I mean, I don't know. I feel like it's probably really in bad taste to have like this this party really that, I mean, it doesn't celebrate excess, but it does. It is a celebration of excess, and it's like in the middle of a city that just got fucking the worst natural disaster in like American history. Yeah. It's a little bit bad. Or at least postpone.
Is it the worst in American history? Like, you mean dollar wise, right? Not like people dying wise.
No, not people dying, at least yet.
Yeah, who gives a fuck dollar wise? That means nothing. Nobody, like Hurricane Katrina, like people were fucking like.
No, that's true too. Yeah.
Nobody gives a fuck about.
You're not wrong.
People. Nobody gives a fuck about
coming
poor
to the
people.
States.
Like, we only give a fuck when it's rich people that get.
I mean, look at Hawaii. Look, why aren't these motherfuckers? And like, I'm not going to make another movie until we fix the shit in Hawaii or North Carolina or everywhere else there's a natural disaster that nobody gives a fuck about because these are Hollywood elites. They want to care. Well, so yeah,
I don't know Stephen King
a little bit
personally, but I think that's probably where he would be coming from if I would have to guess. Like we as these international stars could be using our platform for other stuff at this point in time instead of like fucking stroking each other and like handing out fucking golden statues and shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but they're all
I get that, but that's exactly what they're doing. They're stroking each other because the rich people lost their fucking houses.
No, yeah, I know.
Yeah.
It wasn't just rich people.
And it wasn't just rich people. No, it wasn't. But if the rich people weren't included, like,
they wouldn't give a fuck. I know
they wouldn't give a fuck.
Oscars
would be like, "Hey, you heard about the Oscars? I can't wait."
No, I know exactly what you're saying. Yeah, for sure. They don't give a fuck about poor people. Nobody does.
Yeah,
I get it. Yeah, you're right.
But yeah, I don't. It is a tragedy. It really is. But
yeah,
I don't know.
This isn't the only Oscar controversy. Real quick, while we're on the topic, I do want to bring it up. So I wanted to bring this up to you guys to see what you guys thought. So The Brutalist, the movie we talked about, 3.5 hours or whatever the fuck it is, 4 hours long with a built-in intermission.
Really?
Yeah.
Wait, what do you mean?
It has a built-in intermission. It has like a moment for you to be like, go pee and get a drink and shit. It's that long. So,
and much like Demi Moore, this might be Guy Pearce's first Oscar.
Well,
of course, if it happens.
Some people think The Brutalist should be disqualified from Oscar contention because apparently the film used AI to design some of the buildings in the movie, as you can see here in what I'm looking at. So some of these buildings were apparently designed by AI. I don't know. Or the buildings that he designs in the movie were designed by AI, I think is what it is, because the movie's about like a architect. So some people are saying that, anything with AI, it ruins the artistic integrity. It shouldn't be considered. But it goes a step further. Apparently, the film also used AI to enhance the accent that Adrian Brody is using in the film. So,
damn,
that begs the question.
I think that's pretty smart, but I understand where they're coming from.
Well, that begs the question now. Should he be recognized for a role where AI enhanced his performance? I want to know what you guys think.
I say, yeah, I think it's smart. Like, was that something that we were told, or did people figure it out?
No, I think they came out with it. I'm not sure.
I feel like if they wouldn't even come out with it, you would have fucking had no idea. I haven't seen the movie yet, but I can't imagine they would put out some subpar shit where it's like,
this tweet is fucking
I don't
unhinged.
think so, no.
This tweet.
Yeah, I mean, are you gonna disqualify people who had abs spray painted on their body, or like makeup or CGI? Right. I mean, where do you stop?
CGI, exactly.
Is AI is the line, because everything before that helps too, like lighting makes a movie better. Props make a movie better.
Where's the line?
It raises a lot of questions. However, I think I'm in disagreement with you guys here, because CGI is different. CGI is because it's an addition. Like, you can't be Thanos, right?
Or subtraction.
What if they come out like
Superman's mustache?
Yes, that's
true. What if they come out like, with Hulk, we had some AI like help us design Hulk's CGI, and then you're gonna be like, oh fuck.
Well, but here's where I'm going with it.
Endgame sucks now.
Well, here's where I'm going with it, right? Is CGI, lighting, all these things you're talking about that either enhance or take away from things, they don't change the performance, which is what he would be recognized for, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you're up for an Oscar for your performance, it'd be like, oh wow, like, okay, let's
CGI does and change the performance though.
No, like, but no, it doesn't.
If Bruce Banner, if Hulk wasn't as good as CGI, we wouldn't like it as much.
But that has nothing to do with the performance. You could still say, wow, he was really fucking good. He just didn't look like the Hulk.
Go watch Lou Ferrigno as the Hulk and tell me it's just as good.
Well, let's think about. But
I think it's easy to say that like on paper, but when you're looking at something that looks like shit, it will influence what you think of the performance. That's what I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
but it doesn't change the objective quality of the performance. It
kind of does though.
Well, let's think of it this way. I have a good example: The Whale, right?
Yeah,
we all agreed Brendan Fraser's performance was outstanding. If you take away the fat suit, does it change his performance? No. It just changes the fantasy.
It's completely different.
What if you give him an AI-based fat suit? Does that make it less of a performance?
No, because I'm saying that's not his performance at all. It's just his look. That doesn't affect his performance.
You're telling me that the fat suit, the disgusting, like all the like gross stuff that we talked about before.
I'm saying when you strip away it's like, think of it like as a stage performance, right? Like, let's strip down acting to its most raw and basic primal form, stage acting, right? If you go to a
theater,
go ahead. Sorry,
if you go to a play in a theater and you watch let's say you watch the actual show, but the day before you watched like the what do they call the practice? The fuck do they call it in?
Pre-rehearsal, no.
The rehearsal, rehearsal. So you watch the rehearsal versus the actual show. The rehearsal doesn't have the costumes and all the shit usually, or the lighting. They're just on stage doing their acting. So the point I'm saying is that the acting between those two scenarios is no different. It's just you're adding costumes and lighting and some glitz and glamour and makeup, but the performances stay the same no matter what. So what I'm saying is, what you guys are pointing out, fat suits and CGI Thanos and like all this stuff, it's just adding to the overall like aesthetic, the showmanship of it, but it's not changing the performance at all.
But that's what I'm telling you. It's changing it because I wouldn't give a fuck about.
It's changing your perception of it. That's subjective, not objective. The acting is still the same if you strip it away, is what I'm saying. But
it's not going to hit nearly the same.
No, of course not. But again, if you watch, let's say, like the raw footage of Josh Brolin, he's got fucking, mocaps all over his body. His performance is still the same. You know what I mean? It's still him.
So what did AI do exactly to change Brody's performance?
So apparently it tweaked and enhanced his vocal I don't know if
the way motherfucker's been using auto-tune for the last 20 years.
Well, yeah, but that was also a big question in music. Should auto-tune be like recognized for like awards and shit? No, I don't think so.
Well, they winning them with it, so
well,
I don't know.
So that's the thing. No, that's a good point, Dusty, about not auto-tune, but like fucking like Bane or someone that uses like a voice.
Yes.
Like they're still acting the same. He still has a great performance,
yeah.
But his voice is altered by this fucking filter or whatever.
Computers.
So let me add some context here. So this is a quote from, I think, Adrian Brody. It says, most of their Hungarian dialogue has a part of me talking in there. We were very careful about oh no, this is the director. We were very careful about keeping their performances. It's mainly just replacing letters here and there. You can do this in Pro Tools yourself, but we had so much dialogue in Hungarian that we really needed to speed up the process. Otherwise we'd be in post. We'd still be in post. Gen AI is also used right at the end of the film in a sequence at the Venice Biennale to conjure a series of architectural drawings and finish buildings in the style of the fictional architect. The overall effect is so impressive you might find yourself headed to Wikipedia to double check that Laszlo Toth existed. Quote, it's controversial in the industry to talk about AI, but it shouldn't be. He acknowledges we should be having a very open discussion about what tools AI can provide us with. There's nothing in the film using AI that hasn't been done before. It just makes the process a lot faster. We used AI to create these tiny little details that we didn't have the money or time to shoot. Thoughts?
Well, he said it right there. You can do it in post already, and they just didn't want to do it manually. So they didn't want to pay somebody like a Hollywood union member to do it manually. They had AI do it for them, and that's why they're disqualified.
Right.
Which
well, no, they're not. They're not disqualified. The question is, should they
why
be
people want them to be?
Yeah.
No, that's dumb.
I think it's a thin line. Personally, I'm not saying for this particular instance it should be disqualified, but I think it could get out of hand pretty quickly. Because at what point then, like are you saying, like we were talking about, it's like at what point are you even like acting? If you're taking, if you go too hard with it, it's like maybe you're just not even acting anymore. You know what I mean? So it's interesting.
I mean, I guess it depends on how much, if it's something that, I guess this is something we could do manually in post, but there was so much of it that we had AI help us, versus something like we used AI to transform the entirety of the, how this person acts, how they talk and everything to make it better. That's completely different. Why even hire an actor if that's the thing? Have AI create an art, an
avatar.
An avatar,
yeah. I see it as an enhancement. I don't have an issue with it.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't either.
Well, interesting stuff.
I mean, some of it looks silly. Like we talked about the Gladiator 2. They got a lot of shit for using AI in the Coliseum and repeating people. And if you watch some of those scenes, like you can absolutely tell, and it looks terrible.
I'd have rather they just fucking produce that whole shit with AI. Because guess what? AI probably wouldn't have fucking had that cheap ass fucking ending, that recycled footage from the original movie, nor would it have made Lucius fucking Maximus's son.
Yeah.
Dumbass fucking shit. Anyway, what else we got in the news, Dusty?
All right. On your left, the most iconic scene in the first 3 phases of the MCU.
Yep.
Almost didn't happen.
I saw this.
The Russo brothers apparently fought for months to get it the way they wanted. Wouldn't say who was on which side of the fight about it, but it was a matter of having the portal show up and them all coming in, or just panning the camera and everybody was magically standing behind them because they reappeared.
Yeah.
I think those were the 2 different takes, and I'm glad that they fought for this and it came out the way they did, because that's one of the most impactful scenes in all of Marvel film.
Yeah, I'm glad they fought.
Why is it so? What's the hype about this scene again? I can't remember. I don't get it.
What?
When in Endgame, when it looks like all is lost and Captain America is got the broken shield and he's fucking like looking around and everybody's down and everybody's hurt, and then you hear him come on. He says, "Cap, on your left," which is a callback to them meeting each other for the first time. And then you turn around and you see him flying out of the portal and everybody else comes back because Tony did the snap and brought them all back.
No, this was before Tony did this. This was Hulk Snap.
Oh, Hulk Snap. That's right. Yes, sorry.
Marvin.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, I just needed a refresher. That's it.
You got Captain America fucking standing alone, ready to take on Thanos' hordes, knowing that he's going to die, but he'll do it anyway. He'll fight because he's Captain fucking America, and he fucking tightens his shield around his arm.
Yeah, he should. He's fucking been alive forever. He should be ready to fucking die already.
It's also there's so much more to it than that. It's like we've been told that this motherfucker was gonna die. Don't you remember going into this movie? There was like all the speculation of like who's gonna die. Somebody's gonna die. It's gonna be Cap. In the trailer, you got him tightening his shield, and he's like ready to fucking go. And you're like,
him up.
They got the picture of him looking at Peggy, and it's like, oh my god, this is the moment we're gonna see Captain America fucking die. And then all of a sudden, on your left, support comes.
I see.
And then I
didn't have all that backstory. You know, I watched all this shit later. So
every Marvel hero, Marvin, comes back to stand behind Captain America. Oh my god, it's so good. Literally a comic book come to life on screen. It's just doesn't get better than that. And I'm hoping when I said that I think Superman could do that again, I think maybe it could. But for what it's worth, I don't think we'll ever see something like that ever again. That shit was crazy. That they stuck the landing so fucking hard. In that. Speaking of Avengers. There was this quote that I had pulled up because it was kind of made me feel good. Anthony Mackie thought Sam Wilson was going to die in Endgame before Chris Evans told him that he was going to be the next Captain America. Quote from Mackie. He goes, "Have you read the new script?" I said, "No." He said, "You don't know?" And also from Mackie, being black, I'm like, I'm going to die. Damn, they're getting rid of me, man. And he takes me to his basement and goes, "Read it." I get to the part, he hands him the shield. I'm like, "So why did you give me the shield?" And he's like, "Because you're fucking Captain America." That's right.
That's fire. Why did he not read the script, though? What the fuck? Maybe he was busy.
No, I
think...
New
script, I think is when
a
rewrite.
Oh, new script.
Marvel, for a long time, they give out actually fake scripts.
Yeah.
And they give out fake
because of all their actors leaking shit all the time.
They give out fake scripts, and they also have like code words like hidden in their script. So if something gets leaked, they know who did it.
Oh, that's some Apple shit.
Like you'll have a different script than I do, and there's like code words in it that like link it back to us.
It's like the special codes they used to put on DVD screeners that people used to rip and upload to the internet. You know who was leaking it because that was their DVD screener.
So Mackie, I mean, you know, obviously, what do I know about being black in America? But we talked about this when his show came out. Like it's a big deal for a black man being Captain America. Like that was the whole concept of Falcon and Winter Soldier. Is why I like that show so much. Like it explored that of like what it means to be Captain America in an America that doesn't fucking care about minorities really and like, but it's not really America. It's like some of the people who run it and like the ideals of the past and like what Captain America stands for. And like same thing with the old Superman slogan, you know, truth, justice, and the American way. They changed it because the American way is like so blurred from what it was back then. It was an ideal.
Yeah, it's truth, justice, and a better tomorrow, right?
Yeah, now it's truth, justice, and a better tomorrow. Because there was once an ideal that was America that ended after World War II. Like people who fought in World War II, like Cap, like Steve Rogers, the fake character, he lies about his, you know, his shit to try to fight because he wants to. He says it in the movie, like he's like, other people are laying their lives on the line. Like, why should I not do? You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And my grandfather is a good example. My grandfather lied about his age to go fight, and so like those ideals existed, and it's just a really interesting question to explore of like upholding the ideals of a country that you don't feel has your back. And so it's unfortunate that I think this next Captain America movie is going to be complete dog shit because it's a really good concept.
Why do you say that?
It just looks like
it looks like a
no. It looks like
is this the one that looks like a spy type of?
They're trying to make it. They're trying to sell you on the fact that it's going to be like Winter Soldier. It's not going to be like Winter Soldier at all. It looks like ass. These movies are ugly now. Like they're just. You'll see. It's going to be bad. It'll be bad.
Oh, it was not bad.
But I thought this was really cool because I've always said Chris Evans embodies like Captain America in real life because he does. He's like he always speaks his mind about like political stuff and like He's on the right side of history a lot of time, and this was cool that he was like, "Hey, man, like you're gonna be the next Cap. Why? Because you fucking deserve it. You're cool. So does your Cap. You know what I mean? So that was cool.
That's sick. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. What else you got there, Dusty?
Okay, well, on over to DC. James Gunn. Yep. He was a fan of the MCU Spider-Man treatment. He was asked about why he's not going to tell a Batman origin story. Well, not why, but he says, I'm not telling Batman and Superman origin stories again because everyone knows them. So, yeah, this is why we're jumping straight into Superman and Batman of the DCU. We'll not have an origin story, even though kind of got one. We didn't really get one for the Batman, but he was already the Batman.
Listen, if I have to fucking watch him, if I have to watch Jonathan, Thomas and Martha getting shot one more fucking time in an alleyway, I'm going to lose my mind.
Yeah. There's so many movies where that happens. It's dumb.
It's like we know. Like Spider-Man.
Or like Spider-Man, Uncle Ben.
Spider-Man. Oh my God.
Spider-Man, Superman, Batman. We all know their origins. We get it.
That's true.
Move on.
Yeah. The main characters, like when you get into like the Green Lanterns,
for sure. We haven't seen them yet.
Some of the other more.
I don't know shit about Green Lantern except for he's black, I think.
But there is a black one.
Well, it's the Lantern Corps. There's a bunch of lanterns.
Yeah.
Of course.
Of course.
A black one.
The Ryan Reynolds one.
Yeah, just be a black one.
But Marvin, James Gunn. He also
Black Superman.
He also.
There we go.
No, you got Black Panther. Come on, get out of here.
Yeah, he died in real life.
That's true.
Yeah,
they had to kill him in real life.
That's not funny.
I said they.
That's not funny, bro. Damn.
No, I said they, not.
I know. No, you're making me laugh about somebody dying.
Like Alex Jones.
No, I got it. I got the joke. It's funny.
But he also plans on creating an alternate opening sequence for Elseworlds.
I saw that.
He posted this, I think, in Threads. So this will differentiate DCU canon movies from like movies like the Batman.
Yeah.
We talked about whether or not he was going to bring in Bobby P. It looks like he's absolutely not. He's going to make his own. So.
Good, because I hope not, because that motherfucker does not match the tone of this DCU.
Yeah.
At least from the Superman trailer, it just doesn't.
Yeah,
he's quoted here on Threads. All DC television and film projects are now under DC Studios because Harley Quinn was developed long before us. Or is this a different story? Oh, no. We are currently working on DC Studios' Elseworlds opening. Yeah.
Yeah, and he also talked a little about what's canon, because he worked on, Creature Commandos and everything going forward in the DCU is 100% canon. The stuff before it, Peacemaker and even the Suicide Squad.
Right.
Peacemaker is mostly canon except for the trio.
Yep.
And then what was the other one I said? Suicide Squad. He said there's some stuff in there that's like a bad memory, and so none of that stuff.
Last week you also mentioned you reported on Constantine 2 going forward. I read something that is completely separate. It's not even in Elseworlds. It's just its own thing, which I thought was interesting. So I don't know if that was true or not, but
yeah, yeah, I don't know. That is interesting.
I mean, obviously, Keanu's getting old. He can't carry a franchise for that much longer, but I would love to see some Hellblazer shit in the DCU.
Getting old. Nah, what's the name? Said he's going for 10 more years.
Damn.
Getting old is not a, what was that? Wolverine.
I don't know. Ed.
Yeah.
Jackman.
Shout out to Ed. Ed said that you really see his age in The Matrix. I don't know if that was on purpose. I haven't seen that movie, but he said he looked a lot slower than he did like back in the early John Wick days.
Yeah.
But that movie was just straight up bad, so I don't know. Maybe that was something to do with it. All right, what else we got?
Well, we'll go back over to Disney real quick. Skeleton Crew. You guys haven't watched this yet, I take it, right?
No, this is going to be the next thing I start. I'm excited to watch it. I heard it was really good.
Yeah, critics and fans both like it, getting better reviews. But a second season is uncertain because it was watched less than The Acolyte.
Damn.
Which everybody, literally
because they don't market
hated.
Shit right. They're not marketing shit right.
No, they marketed
this is
shit
also
The Acolyte.
the fatigue.
Yes.
This is the fatigue, of, hey, we're going to put out this great show and it's shit and everybody hates it. And now they're like, hey, we're going to put out this other show And you could say, I think in this article, it says like the one thing that Andor and Skeleton Crew and the Acolyte have in common is they are not directly tied to the Skywalker saga, which I would refute that Acolyte was tied to the Skywalker saga because they were putting in characters that were from the Skywalker saga. Mm-hmm. So it definitely had ties to it. But Skeleton Crew and Andor, two of their better shows, have no ties to the Skywalker family. And people just aren't watching it because they're fucking burned out on the shit that's getting pumped out.
I don't think they're going to do this ever because, money. But they should probably, I think after Andor season 2, they should just kind of like let Star Wars kind of settle for a bit. Give it a couple years.
I think it's a marketing thing. Like, I saw hardly anything for this.
No, it totally is. It's just, let's think of it this way. What they did with the Acolyte is basically what the Democrats did by trying to convince us that Joe Biden was still a functioning human being. And then after that, immediately flipping 180 and trying to throw in Kamala Harris, who's largely unpopular, to try to go against Trump. And what the Democrats effectively did by doing that and openly lying for the last 4 years about literally everything and everything, being like, hey, everything's fine. No, nothing's wrong. Everything's fine. What they effectively did was completely ruin the trust in the Democrats for the next 10 to 15 years. They ushered in a Republican popularity like the world has never seen. And Trump is here now just collecting W's easily. Oh, you banned TikTok? Fuck it. It's not banned anymore.
It's back, baby.
You allowed a fucking genocide to go on for 15 months? I'm going to end it.
Ceasefire.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
He's just collecting W's. So now, in 4 years, if we even have an election in 4 years, I'm starting to think less and less we will. Don't roll your eyes at me. It's possible.
Okay.
People have to be behind it, bro. This guy is a cult, okay? So anyhow, it's probably not going to happen. I'm just kidding, but it could. But anyway, in 4 years, when we get, like, let's say another, nobody's going to want to the Democrats are going to put up some fucking milquetoast fucking idiot like fucking
gonna be Don Jr. versus Pete Buttigieg,
some bullshit, and everybody's
Don
gonna be like,
Jr., no.
LOL, Democrats, fuck that. I'm not gonna fucking even entertain you. And let's say we get an even actual progressive person, maybe Jon Stewart decides to step up and try to take over the progressive movement. Everybody's gonna be like, oh, well, you're running as a Democrat? Fuck you. Completely dismiss him. This is what's happening with Disney. Disney gave us The Acolyte, which cost $700 trillion. They marketed the fuck out of it. It was dog shit and nobody liked it for legitimate and illegitimate reasons, but nobody liked it. And if you said you liked it, you're a fucking liar. I don't care who you are, okay? Because it was terrible. And now,
oh shit,
they're like, hey, here's the Skeleton Crew. Everybody's like, okay, yeah, sure. Yep. That's
no. We were hyped for this, but I completely forgot about it because I didn't see anything about it for 3 more months after that.
Yeah, so I still want to watch it. I know.
It's a fun.
If I was marketing this show, I would be like, "Hey, this is the next fucking Andor. Just come watch it. Trust me."
They should have marketed as this is the next Goonies.
They could have shoved Hondo into the show. You guys don't know who that is, but that's neither here nor there. But it wasn't that far off. Acolyte was 200 million, 20 million an episode. This was 136 million, about 17 million an episode. So still not as expensive, but less expensive as far as shit goes. But if you in context, the final season of Game of Thrones was 15 million an episode. So
I might start that.
tonight. It's on par with the big shows, but these companies are trying to downsize the amount of money they spend on these big shows because they're losing money on this shit. So.
Yeah, but
I don't know.
We talked about it too with Agatha. Like Agatha was great and cost nothing.
Yep.
So I don't know, whatever. But that sucks. But again, be happy it happened. If it was good and it doesn't.
It was a fun little show. Christina and I watched it with the kids. They loved it.
I'll probably start
to get
tonight.
them into it like the first episode or two, but once they were in, they were hooked and they loved it. So good for everybody.
If they want, for the health of Star Wars, and fans of Star Wars need to be on board with this because fans of Star Wars are insufferable. It's not just Star Wars fans, fandoms in general are insufferable, but fans of Star Wars need to be on board with change, and they need to be on board with Disney ushering in a new era of Star Wars content for a new generation of people, a new audience, new age group, all of that stuff. And the only way to do that is stuff like this, to get away from what was and get into what will be. We don't need, I just fucking quoted Kamala Harris like an idiot.
Be unburdened, Dan.
Yeah, I'm being so unburdened right now by what was. But for real, they got to get away from the Skywalker saga. How old are Christine's kids?
That means going back thousands of years prior and touching on like the beginnings of stuff,
or thousands of years in the future, with the
Acolyte, or thousands of years, one or the other. You just get out of that fucking era.
How old are Christine's kids?
6 and 8.
Okay, so if you sit down with them and make them watch the original Star Wars, they might enjoy it for the time, but they're not going to become Star Wars fans for life. That shit is like, they might, but it's like so much.
I mean, Bo likes it, Priscilla, not so much.
I'm just saying, younger kids, they're going to be less, they're going to be harder to turn on to Star Wars with older stuff. If you just started like, look at what Legend of Korra is a great example. Like, it just, hey, we're thousands of years in the future. We mention Aang sometimes,
right?
But like, this is where we are now. So you know, I think the Skeleton Crew is a step in the right direction. Just hopefully, you know, they continue doing that instead of being creatively bankrupt. Yeah, Miss Chili out.
Okay. Well, we brought him up. This is from Deadline. WB working on bringing back some old stuff, shaking things up on the exec level, fire on people and whatnot. But apparently they're working on bringing back the Goonies franchise.
Speaking of being creatively bankrupt.
Remakes.
I don't know if this is going to be a sequel or a remake, but if it's a sequel, I mean, Ki-Hee Kwan as Data. Is it Data?
Yeah.
It's short round.
Yeah, I don't want to see Quan like fucking making traps and fucking gizmos and shit. Like he's better. Like we don't need this remake.
Marvin, are you telling me you've
taking
actually
kids on an adventure like National Treasure? Like
no,
you've seen the Goonies?
I've seen Goonies multiple times.
There is a world where it can be done if it has a good story, but enough. We have so much Goonies. We just talked about a Goonies thing in the Star Wars universe. Skeleton Crew is literally Goonies. Stranger Things, Goonies. Goonies. Yep. Like everything is fucking Goonies. Goonies. Like we get it.
Well, you got to give something for the kids.
No, I know, but like they could do it with new props. What I'm saying is like you could have the spirit of the Goonies in anything else other than the Goonies. You don't have to
take a shot every time Dan says Goonies.
Yeah.
Challenge impossible.
But we also got a quote from there. Drew Goddard's incoming script for a new Matrix. So they did the Matrix trilogy and then they did a new Matrix after that to kind of close it all up and tie it together. And now they're going to make another Matrix. So speaking of tired things that need to go away, that's where I was going to, because you're like, Keanu can't carry it. I hope to God it doesn't come to life, but new Matrix.
Cool, man.
For whatever reason.
Yeah. Cool, man.
And then one of the last things I got here, Josh Gad, also doing a remake, but Spaceballs 2.
Yeah,
Mel Brooks is behind this one. He actually said, he says they're getting the budget together and they're going to cast, and then he quickly confessed that it's the first time I've said that. I hope I don't get in trouble. So this is news. Because this one just came out, but yeah. He also goes on to say about how he didn't get a part in Avatar because he looked like a fat Smurf in an Avatar suit. So
this is something. Now this is a sequel I could get behind because it's fucking slapstick, it's fucking comedy, it's just fun, and Josh Gad is a creative, talented person who.
Yes, he is.
He's very funny. He appreciates nerd culture and shit like this. Like he gets it. Okay. So this I'm on board with. If some fucking executive with no lips told me I was getting this, I would not want to fucking see it. But because he said it, I'm on board with that. I have one piece of news before you go to your transition piece. Literally.
Yeah, go ahead.
And I can't believe you didn't bring it up, but we had a tremendous loss in the film industry this week, and that was David Lynch. Passed away. David Lynch, for those of you that don't know, what are you doing with your life? Legendary filmmaker, made some of my favorite movies, one of my favorite shows of all time, which you should watch, Marvin, Twin Peaks.
How long is this fucking show?
3 seasons in a movie. Well, 4 seasons in a movie.
3 seasons of like 24 episodes, or like 3 seasons of like 12?
Longer episodes, but very good. But David Lynch, also known for some very, 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 very good films, and some of my favorites. I think I can't even remember. I don't even know what one of his first movies was. He's done so much shit, but you know, you got movies like Eraserhead, Mulholland Drive, Blue Velvet, which is fantastic. He did the original Dune back in the day, the first adaptation of it.
I don't think I've seen any of his movies.
Oh man, he's a brilliant filmmaker, and he is an artist in every sense of the word. But he is an acquired
bit eccentric.
Taste. Yeah,
yes, bit eccentric, but
he is eccentric. I don't know if I like that.
He's an acquired taste. You either love his movies or you don't like them at all.
Right.
But
is it like Wes Anderson eccentric, or like
similar? Like it's like if Wes Anderson, it's like darker than Wes Anderson though. It's like dark and twisted version of Wes Anderson.
Oh, that might be good. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, just a really, really big loss. He was
an icon.
He was older. He started smoking apparently when he was 8 years old. Chain smoked. No, I'm dead serious. He announced a couple months back that he had emphysema, and I don't know if there's I don't know if the fires had anything to do with this, but like he did live in LA, so I don't know if the smoke inhalation like accelerated whatever issues he was having, but he passed away a couple days after the fires. So really sad. Definitely
living in LA smog for that long will fucking give you some lung issues.
Everybody should watch his shit. But our the good old Snyder bros had a little bit something to say about David Lynch.
Oh, I saw this.
Lynch is dead, but there is already an heir. With David Lynch's death, cinema has lost its greatest architect of the unconscious, a master at transforming dreams and nightmares into visual narratives that defy logic. Lynch didn't just make films, he created experiences. Every shot, every sound was a portal to mystery and the unknown. Now that he's gone, the void he leaves behind is immense. And if there's anyone who could even come close to touching that greatness, it's Zack Snyder. Okay? This is one of the most laughable fucking things that I've ever seen. And it's not because I don't like Zack Snyder. It's just to compare these two individuals in terms of filmmaking is... The word joke doesn't even begin to describe it. That doesn't even describe it either. It is like cavemen fucking smacking rocks together type of levels of IQ. So, matter of fact, that was smarter because cavemen discovered fire from smacking rocks together and developed weapons and tools and shit. So,
remember I told you, Dan, I was watching The Bear.
Yeah.
And in the first episode, they had someone calling the guy, as an insult, they were calling them Snyder cut motherfuckers.
Yeah, you did tell me that. Yep.
Yep.
Yeah. These
they
people
worship this guy. It's insane.
No, yeah, these people are dumb as fuck. So yeah, that's the last thing I wanted to touch on. What's your last piece, Dusty?
Well, we're here to talk about now. I actually initially thought this was just a body horror film, not necessarily a body horror with some satire or parody, because this article describes it as a parody of body horror film.
Yep.
So anywho, Corley Fargeet's body horror hit. All the practical effects. We talked about Demi Moore. She got a Golden Globe for, this is what threw me out, because Christina was asking when we were watching it last night. I was like, Demi Moore won an award for this. Christina hated this film. I don't know why. But she hated it, and I was like, well, she won a Golden Globe for acting. And then I looked it up, and I was like, wait, for comedy or musical? This is a horror film, shouldn't this be in the drama category?
Right.
She actually won for comedy or musical, because those are the only two categories. There's drama / comedy or musical. So you got to fall into one of those two. But all the effects in this film were practical until the very end, that's when everything got wet and bloody and funny. Up until that point, it was kind of like, what's going on here? This is crazy.
Yeah, funny's a good word.
Practical effects. So I love when the directors use practical effects when they can and not use VFX, but they did use some at the end, and it was great. So yeah, that's the last piece of news I have.
All right, Dusty. Well, thank you so much for the news. Yeah, I was actually going to talk about this a little bit in the review of the VFX, one of the standouts of the film. But let's thank you for the news, Dusty. Appreciate it once again, as usual. Let's get into today's review, and that is The Substance. Yeah, what a just.
What was that movie we watched about the wrestler, the weightlifter that got weird at the end?
Weightlifter.
The girl that worked at the gym.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I can't remember the name of it.
The Substance felt like that, like times 10 as far as like the build up and then the ending and how kind of like the cheese came out at the end. But
so this is just the most on the nose movie of all time. Like I don't think I've ever seen anything that's like more on the nose than this in terms of like the message that it was trying to deliver or the themes that it was exploring.
Right.
And so this is like been critically acclaimed, and as you were just talking about it, as a body horror film, I was expecting something along the lines of, you know, the Cronenbergs that we talk about so much, and instead what I got was something that was like definitely pretending to be a Cronenbergian type of thing.
Oh no, why would you even say that about this? That's like a slap in the face.
Yeah.
You think
I thought the cinematography was visceral in this. It was way better than anything I've seen Cronenberg do.
Cinematography wise, yeah. But yeah, anyhow, this is a massive hit. Stars Demi Moore. She won a Golden Globe for her performance as washed out celebrity Elizabeth Sparkle, a name that's about as subtle as the rest of the film. And this is basically, like I said, an on-the-nose parody of celebrity beauty standards, especially as they apply to aging female stars. And she basically gets fired from her gig on a fucking, I don't know, workout show or some shit. And she quickly gets offered this black market drug called The Substance that basically replicates your cells and creates like a younger, better version of yourself. But there are some caveats to that. You have to take very good care of both sides of yourself because you are one, as they say the whole movie. You're one. And every 7 days you have to switch and spend 7 days.
Mitosis is only popular through single cell though, right?
I think so.
I'm not wrong on that. I'm a little rusty on my science, but I don't think multiple celled organs can go.
Yeah, but this is sci-fi, so everything goes.
Yeah,
and anything. Yeah. But that's pretty much the plot of the movie. And of course, the younger self, as her younger self, does not follow the rules, and slowly but surely things start to go off the rails, and ultimately end up in what is one of the most ridiculous things I've ever seen on film. So Marvin, what do you think about this movie, Marvin? You like this movie?
I love this movie. Yeah, I watched it it might have been a couple months ago at this point.
Did you rewatch it?
I didn't rewatch it,
okay.
But it's still pretty fresh, honestly, because I enjoyed it a lot. So yeah, I thought this was great. I thought the premise, like I said, it was very on the nose, but I still think they did a good job of keeping you like interested throughout the movie without like thinking that this is like going on too long or this is a drag or some shit.
Yeah.
I thought Demi Moore did an amazing job. Apparently the rest of the world did too, I guess.
Yeah, I guess so.
This was like, for some reason, giving me like some cyberpunk vibes or something. Like it had that sci-fi feel to it too. And I don't know if they meant for it to really. Just, I don't know. It felt like it was a little bit further in the future or something. Like if I had to kind of describe this, it was a little bit way more futuristic, I guess.
I think that's because of the parody of it. It took everything in our real life and like completely hyper inflated it. It's very similar to what you will see in RoboCop when we watch that. I told you I was going to I've already announced my Make Marvin Watch for next month, by the way, folks, off camera.
Wait, RoboCop. I've seen RoboCop.
Have you? The original?
I think so.
All right. Well,
anyway, we'll talk about that.
You got to figure it out. But anyway, this is very similar to RoboCop, where it takes like the real world that we're living in and like amplifies it to like a million degrees.
100%.
It's like an alternate universe feel to it.
Pretty
it
much,
had like because the doctor's still wearing a pager.
Yep.
You know, like for little things is like you're in a world where film and stuff is like Hollywoodized, but you're not in like an America. You're just somewhere else.
Yeah.
In a different universe.
I thought this was good though. Like the pacing was good.
Yeah.
Like the fucking crazy ending where like they're fighting and all this shit was good. I feel like the gore was even like it wasn't crazy until the end, but it was still like some pretty good, gory, nice stuff where when she was like abusing the injection site and all that. Like
Yep.
It was some gross stuff in there. It wasn't. It didn't really get that much body horror until the end, though. Which
quick little side note: Love Lies Bleeding is the movie you were referencing.
Love Lies Bleeding.
Oh, I never watched that.
That was fantastic. Yeah. You should watch that.
6.6.
Very good. Higher than that. I think I gave it a 10. I don't even remember.
Damn.
I had a few problems with it. I don't think I rated it as high, but I enjoyed it that was one that tried to be serious and then at the end kind of did what this did, but a little bit different. Not to spoil anything.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's some similarities.
This movie was great. I don't know. What do you guys think about this?
Dusty, go ahead. Take it away.
Yeah, I enjoyed this. Like I said, the cinematography was visceral. When Dennis Quaid is eating the shrimp or smoking,
oh god,
and all these close-up camera shots of just everything that make like it unsettles you. You're like, ugh, that's kind of gross. That's kind of disgusting. Like they do a really good job of setting that up, and then getting into the messages of the whole movie. There's little messages, subtle messages, hints, and everywhere. One thing that we noticed when we were watching is like, girls beat themselves up, as far as their image goes and everything, and like her like kicking the shit out of herself when they're fighting each other after she wakes up. There's some parallels to that, but it got ridiculous at the end, which was hilarious. I didn't realize that it was going to do that, so it was
me either.
It was actually it was a pleasant surprise, I guess, because I thought it was going to go dark and weird and maybe like what was the one that we watched? Smile 2. I thought it was going to have a weird ass ending like Smile 2, where she gets up on stage and something weird happens and everybody freaks out. But it kind of did, but it just did it in a funny way. But I loved this movie. I thought it was great. Great build up, great acting, great cinematography. I have a few Dusty gripes with it, but none of that really matters in the overall scheme of things.
What's the Dusty gripe?
How does each one?
That's not how you prepare chicken.
Well, yeah, no. It's so they don't really know what the other one's doing until they wake up, but they kind of know how to do everything, even though I know to sew the chick's backside up and I know to go to the audition and I know to do, but I don't know what the other person is doing. So they're living separate lives and they don't know what's going on, but sometimes they do. Like there were a couple confusing things as far as like how the fuck are they supposed to know what's going on if they don't know what's going on? So just a couple weird, confusing that stuff. But other than that, not really. I don't know.
I agree with that. And you talked about the visceral shots and stuff. Some of the shots reminded me of like maybe it's like some 90s movies or something that I had seen, like some of these close-ups. I'm thinking of like The Matrix and some of these, maybe like The Matrix 2, like he's like, I can't remember exactly, but it definitely reminds me of something that I've seen before with those like super close-up, kind of grossing you out type of shots.
And even like the hallway that they were walking down with all the posters and stuff, like that's a carpeted hallway. You shouldn't hear anybody walking, but it sounds like he's walking down. Like it just, everything like is just kind of weird, like unsettling. And so that wasn't a complaint. That's just the visceral stuff. They just, Coralie did a great job of delivering on unsettling you and then giving you this reprieve of, okay, now it's going to get silly stupid.
Yeah. And the whole swapping, it honestly, we talked about Severance earlier. If you missed that, go back and check that out. It gives me some Severance vibes with the swapping between some parallels there for sure. Yeah.
Okay. Because it's about living, you know, the difference is Severance is you're the same person, but you're two different people. This is you're the same person, but one is a younger, better version of yourself, and you get to do whatever you want. Where it's, I mean, so they're the same thing. You get to do whatever you want in Severance in your life outside of work, and you don't have to think about it. Where this one, you're kind of forced to just lie there and eat some goo on the floor.
Yeah.
Oh, that was my other gripe is this girl like
on the floor.
She comes out and then, you know, all of a sudden, like, I'm a master fabricator and journeyman framer and welder, and I'm going to make this secret room in the back of my bathroom. I was like, that's stupid. But
that was hilarious. Yeah.
Okay.
What about you, Dan?
Well, I don't know. We're very far apart on this movie. I fucking hated this movie. Hated it.
What?
No, you're in line with Christina. That's she hated crazy. It too.
I thought this movie was loud, and I thought it was obnoxious. It made me nauseous at times, like dizzy.
Yeah.
And I don't think it served any purpose whatsoever. Honestly, I don't even know what this movie's about. I know what it wanted to be about, but it certainly didn't show it because we said it's on the nose, but then it like completely doesn't do the thing that it set out to do. First of all, you mentioned the pace. This was like a grueling 2.5 hours. Like, couldn't wait for it to be over. Like,
it was a little long. Yeah, it was a little long.
It went a half hour longer than it had to, but also this is not going to make any sense, but despite its length, it felt super rushed. Like the snowball happens so fast, but it drags for so long. I don't know if that makes sense. Does it make sense? It does. It's just a weird pacing to the movie that it just literally made me dizzy. And I get like the cinematography of it was really great, and it is visceral, and it really like makes you anxious and stuff like that. And I loved it, and that was great. I think there's a lot of good stuff to the movie overall. Visually, the sound design was fantastic. All served to like deliver that anxiety and stuff like that. She was great. Her co-star, Margaret Qualley, was great. They were fantastic. Dennis Quaid, even for being a MAGA psychopath, he was great. Everybody in the movie was really good, but the movie overall, I thought I fucking did not like it at all. I hated it. I'm not gonna say it's a bad movie, but so this is really about like the preposterous beauty standards, right? That are placed upon women in our culture, not just celebrities, but women in general.
By men and women, yeah.
Correct.
Because women do it to themselves, but men also push those standards.
This is why I hated the movie, because you just nailed it, right? The movie itself is mostly leaning into the beauty standards that society places on women based off of professional stuff and societal things and how women get propped up in society based on their looks. They get work based on their looks and all that stuff. Okay. But why was this movie so determined to make these women suffer then, while portraying the men as like the bumbling buffoons who they were? And that's not me being like this movie was woke. It just doesn't make any sense thematically, because the men in the movie objectify women to a cartoonish degree. You know, he's like, you got the two guys at the audition who are like, here's somebody where everything's where it's supposed to be. Wow, she had great tits, but her nose was fucking, you know what I mean? And then Dennis Quaid's character is like, pretty girl should smile. And it's like in your fucking face. And it's like, yeah, okay. It's like a cartoonish caricature of like shitty men. Get it? Great. But then the movie goes and punishes these two women so like the message didn't make any sense. Like you would think. Well, hang on.
I mean, women also punish themselves, so that was part of the message.
But it's not their fault. I don't think. I mean, to a degree, you could say yes, but it's not like. I don't know. I just didn't get it. I didn't get the whole message. Like, you're trying to tell me one thing or showcase one thing, but you're telling me another. It's like, wow, these women are victims of society and our culture, but we're also going to fucking make them like horrifically suffer for it. Like, what doesn't make any sense. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? What I'm trying to say?
Yep.
Yeah. And like while, you know, really what should happen, like I would think that like you would want women to like come together and like fight back against what they're being put through, but instead they turn on each other.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, I don't know because
also,
hang on, Marvin. Go ahead, Marvin.
They're also fighting for survival between each other, right? Like,
but also made no sense to me. I'll explain.
How could it not? Like, the whole movie is about balance, and one person is throwing that balance out of sync, and then it comes to an absolute head when she has to kill her, and she's like hesitant about it because there's like some empathy there.
But they're the same person.
They're not, though.
Well, this is where I don't understand, because I watched I was watching the movie with a friend, and I was just like, initially they like the movie explicitly tells you are one, like you're the same person.
You're one in the sense that there's a balance there. You share the same resources, and you have to swap out after the 7 days, but you're living different lives.
They're living different lives, but she's not like an independent. I don't know.
They are, because they don't share the same. They're not conscious at the same time, so they don't
share the mission. But
like they see the aftermath. Like, if she sees her overeating and she's like, "Oh, you're wasting your time, like basically doing this, or you're wasting my time because I could have just been out or whatever."
Well, to answer your question, Marvin, I think they could have just been like, "Yo, I'm young and fucking hip. I'll make all the money, and then you could fucking wake up and like." Also enjoyed that too. Like, you made me. I don't know. It's just, I feel like in another world, it could have just been like a very simple, like,
it could have been
mutually beneficial relationship.
It could have been, but if you're they're sharing everything down the middle, right? Time, essentially.
Yeah.
And if you feel like one person is wasting that time,
I
overeating, whatever.
Yeah, totally.
And then it spirals, and that's,
I
don't know. I feel like they portrayed that pretty well.
What were you going to say, Dusty?
Oh, I was going to say, you kind of get it. Because there's only 2 patients, right, that we know of, because there's only 2 numbers. There's 503 and 207 in the boxes. And you kind of figure out that the doctor that gives her the number is like, it seems to be he's the one behind it all, because he's like, he knows that she's a candidate and, hooks her up with all that stuff. But you kind of understand when she sees the old version of him, he's like, has she, as your other self started, taking advantage of and using. Yeah. So there is like, it's not just the overall message could be about, the status of women and objectifying them and all that. There is still, this is about, humans. And if you could make a younger, better version of yourself and go through all this to do it, would you do it, and what would you do? So, I mean, that in a way that's kind of sexless, but it focused on a woman and a woman in entertainment, which was interesting, because I thought, if you're somebody like Demi Moore or her character, Elizabeth Sparkles, and you've been in this your entire life, and then you got a younger you were washed out basically, and nobody cares about you anymore. Would you really want to do the entire career you just did all over again? Or would you want to try something else with all that money and all that youth?
Right.
But if you're addicted to the fame and the limelight, you probably would.
Correct.
Yeah.
So in a sense, it's not necessarily just a victimhood of what society does to women. It's also what women do to themselves, or just what people do to themselves to try and get to a place that they think will be better. I want fame. I want people to want me around, and I need to be celebrated by other people to feel good or find value in myself. There was a lot of messaging like that in there. And so I think in that term, it's not necessarily just about, women body positivity or
no. I don't think it's
toxic masculinity, but
no, I didn't think it was that like surface level, but like, it's like the cost of like our desires and like what that means to remain human in like the face of dehumanizing things. But I guess maybe I just didn't get the movie. I don't know. Maybe this is one of those. I hate that where it's like you just didn't get it, bro. But maybe this is one of those times where I just didn't get it because I just don't understand why they made the characters suffer the way they did. It doesn't make sense to at least what I thought the plot was about. And like, it's not like if you're telling a story, like a social commentary about like the pitfalls of beauty standards, well, why are they still paying the price for that? Do you know what I mean? That's kind of where I was with it. I was just like, well, this makes no sense. Like, why are they fucking like, and suffering isn't even the proper word for it. Like the shit that they go through is like insane, which is why where it gets its like body horror thing. Like you see very visceral shots of like needles and spines and juices and fucking fluids and
it was gross.
Guts coming out.
But I think what they're trying to portray there is what you put yourself through to like achieve these beauty standards that the world or whoever is putting on you. Like,
well, I guess where I fucking fall out of alignment with that is like, who's to blame? It's like the chicken or the egg. Who's to blame? The people that chase the beauty standards or the people that invent the beauty standards that make people feel like they have to chase it?
I don't think this movie is trying to portray like who is to blame. I think it's kind of like the outcome of what happens to the extreme when you chase and try to like sorry, my dog is going crazy.
I don't even hear it.
Oh really? Oh, okay. I do, so it's distracting. It's just like trying to show like this is to an extreme, this is what happens when you try to keep up and instead of like embracing your beauty as you get older or whatever it may be, this is
yeah, like the scene where she's trying to get ready to go have a cocktail with the old high school, classmate or whatever, and she just can't leave because she knows that she's not ever going to be as pretty as her younger self, so she has to go and reapply the makeup and then reapply the makeup, and then she freaks out and goes down the spiral of that's the regret of, I don't know, I guess going old. But I mean, I don't know, it's there are some weird concepts in the film, like she should be fulfilled even though she's like solitaire, living a solitary life, and
I don't know, I think maybe go ahead.
It could also, like, for us, we aren't in the same like limelight as like celebrities or whatever, right? So like when your whole livelihood is how you look, really, like
100%.
It could be easy. It could be a lot easier to like fixate on these things and like
totally
go change your makeup 20 times and like.
I have firsthand experience with this. I told you I had a friend who was an actor, and she's telling me all the time about like having why getting like the concept of like getting work done, which like a lot of men are like, oh, you don't fucking need that. You're attractive. You're pretty. You don't need. It's not about that. It's about like I need to maintain this standard. Otherwise, I lose my livelihood, right?
Right.
Because that's just how the industry is. Mm-hmm. And that's where the movie lost me, because that's like the whole premise of the movie. They build the movie from that point. We see it in the beginning is like you get a little bit of like a brief little description of what the substance does. It causes mitosis. Okay, cool. But then it shows you like a glimpse of her career and life over the course of time by just holding on her Hollywood star, which I thought was brilliant, by the way. She gets her star put in. She's a rising star. She's super famous. And then slowly but surely time degrades the star and people spill garbage on it and whatever. And she just gets lost to time itself. And so I love that. But like, I thought the filmmaking part of the movie was fantastic. It was brilliant. I just thought that message was like, I don't know where it wanted to be, because the movie starts by being like, she's aging. And instead of going out gracefully, like she's getting fucking fired. Like she's not like she I mean, maybe part of it is like, well, as a person who was lived in the limelight, maybe just, move on and like accept the fact that like your time has passed. Maybe there's a little bit of that in there too.
I mean, for sure. Like, I mean, that's not even just with people in the limelight, even like look at fucking like politicians. Like no one wants to let go of any type of fame or power that they have. Like it's something just with being human, I guess. So it's totally. Like that's kind of what I got from it, I guess.
I just guess I thought. Go ahead, sorry.
Well, it's a body horror parody too. So
true.
It's a commentary on what. I mean, so as an example, I guess like Madonna. Madonna used to be hot, amazing, beautiful in the 80s, 90s. I mean, if you look at her now and what she's done to herself to try and stay pretty, people will tell you like Roseanne Barr is prettier than Madonna is now. And Roseanne Barr.
Don't know if anybody would say that, but
I mean, you put them back.
There's an argument there.
She looks like fucking. She doesn't even look like herself. No, this is her Instagram. Well, I guess it could be still be Photoshop.
Yeah, okay. So she's using filters and shit. Yeah, that's not raw photos.
No, I'm saying she doesn't even. I mean, she looks like she's like 30 years younger than she already is. Than she kind of is. But like that's the point of the movie too. Is like they obviously hired Demi Moore for the roles because she's a beautiful woman, despite her age.
100%. Yeah.
And like so yeah, it's like, oh, you're ridiculous for thinking this way. But like, see again, this is where I deviate from the movie. Like I totally understand of like. They're being punished because they're like they can't move on gracefully and accept the fact that they're older and stuff like that. But I just don't see it as their fault. Does that make sense?
I don't think anybody would see it as their fault.
It's society's fault.
If you're chasing beauty at a point where you're past your prime of beauty, it's getting into the you have lost touch with who you are as a person.
True, yeah.
No, I agree, and she did lose touch with who she is as a person. I'm just simply saying that at least in this movie and in real life, I don't think that's the fault of the person losing touch with who they are. It's the systems and the circumstances that instill that into them. So, like, I don't understand why that's what the movie wants us to accept of like society, culture, entertainment places these things onto these women. So then, why are we punishing them for it? You know what I mean? That's kind of just my whole thing. Like I thought maybe at the end there'd be like a takeaway where they like learn something or like there's a growth moment, but there wasn't any of that. They just suffer and die. Spoilers. So
spoilers.
It was just a very bizarre thing that I think I just maybe don't I just don't
Hollywood
get.
Star Street Sweeper.
As far as the body horror goes, I thought the practical effects were fantastic. You mentioned it in your last news story that the VFX team on The Substance turned her into the Blob and like all this stuff. Very, very impressive practical effects. I thought it was really cool. The only thing I didn't like was Margaret Qualley's fake boobs that they put her in. They looked very Uncanny Valley boobs to me. They looked like plastic ones, especially the nipples. I know that sounds ridiculous, but they just looked super fake. And I don't know if that was the point of to like hyper sensationalize like her naked body. But they gave her fake boobs to sort of match more of what like Demi Moore looks like. So they just looked kind of
also had fake boobs.
I don't know if she does. It's not confirmed.
I thought she just had fake boobs. I didn't really,
No, she does.
I don't know if it's confirmed or not, but anyway, it doesn't matter. I'm just saying, like, I don't know if that was the case, but the practical effects in the movie were very good, other than the boobs. The boobs were like super fake looking, and I don't know if they were fake looking on purpose or not. I keep calling her Mary. Margaret Qualley, she in an interview talking about the suit at the end that took like 6 to 9 hours to put on and take off, and like they said that she said that like. She would just shoot until she was like have a panic attack, like being in this thing for so long. Yeah. So, practical effects were great.
She was also in Poor Things.
Yeah, she's married to that guy. The musician Bleachers is the name of the group.
Oh,
she was in that video for like his last single. No, Margaret Qualley.
Oh,
every little move you make. She's in the video for that. Yeah, I don't know. That was really my only thing with it. I mean, I don't know. To say I hated it, I didn't enjoy it. Hated is maybe strong, but like, because I think there was a lot of really good things with like in terms of like filmmaking and like acting. Like obviously the performances were brilliant. If she was ever going to win an award, she deserves it for this. It was fantastic. Both of them were really great. I just feel like overall it was just like like they tell us like, like these poor women, like how they're treated, but then they give us like this series of mean-spirited fucking things that they do to them, and it really doesn't like give you any sympathy for that. I didn't have like, I don't know, it was just weird. Yeah, I don't know. It was just,
I mean, they get beat up by others and they beat themselves up, and they do it all for the fame and the stardom.
But by the end of the movie, you mostly despise everybody in it. Like you despise like the men, you despise both of them as characters. Like you don't feel bad for any of them.
Yeah. That seems very intentional to me.
You think so?
Yeah.
I think so, yeah. You hate the system. Like you hate everything about it. You hate everything about this. Like that's how I felt. Like this,
yeah.
Nothing is good. There's no silver lining here. No one wins.
Yeah, it's just like, okay, you know, and then like, you know, the body horror element of it, and we've talked about this before. Like, I do not really care for body horror stuff. I don't like gratuitous violence; just doesn't do it for me. Gratuitous gore doesn't do it for me. And then the movie tells us like these beauty standards are absurd. You should be against this, and then it just like playfully fucking just absolutely destroys these two women who are victims of the said standards. That is where I just don't get the movie, and I think it's fine. I just don't get it. I don't get it, and that's fine.
That's fine. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't really quite get that part of it.
I don't think there's anything to get, like, because it is so on the nose, and it's not trying to save anyone, like per se. It's not like trying to change anyone's mind or like. You know what I mean? Like, I think it's just telling this crazy, extreme story, and that just kind of is what it is.
Yeah, but then in that case, it doesn't really feel that authentic. It's just like, well, what was the point, really? At least for me.
How many movies has Coralie done? Is this her
second?
Second? Okay.
Yeah, Coralie.
Did we watch the other one?
No, I don't think we ever have. Her other movie, Revenge, is also like a social commentary. Type of thing. I haven't seen that one, but seems to be sort of her shtick. But yeah, I certainly won't say it was a bad movie because it like objectively was good. I just couldn't get behind the story that it was trying to tell, I guess. But that's fine. Not everything, you know, like Marvin, you didn't like. Well, not that you didn't like it, but it didn't really. Was it a real pain? Didn't really like resonate, right?
Yeah.
So you know, not all gonna be. There's going to be some hits and there's going to be some misses.
Yeah.
Yep.
But it's getting, do you guys have anything else you wanted to touch on with this?
No.
Okay.
I don't think so.
Yeah, here, a spiritual successor to Cronenberg style body horror. But yeah, no, it's getting critical acclaim. Like I said, she won the Golden Globe, and she'll probably be nominated for the Oscar
for the Academy
if it does happen. And it's got a 7.3 on IMDb. What are you guys gonna give it, Marvin?
7.3.
Mm-hmm.
I think I would give it an 8. Round it up.
Okay. Dusty?
I don't know if it's worth the bump, so I'll give it a 7.
Yeah, I would give it a 7 too. I still hated it, but it was an objectively good movie. Like, it was a well-made movie. That was the thing. I just
you can't hate it and get it a 7.
Yes, you can.
That's not how that works.
Yes, you can. I've
never gave a movie I hated a 7. Not once. I
could recognize the fact that it was quality filmmaking. I just didn't really that part that I don't understand what they were trying to convey to me. That's really all it is. But I still think it was an objectively well-made movie. It did the things that it wanted. Like it definitely, you know, made you feel uncomfortable and fucking gross and like all this stuff effectively. Yeah. But you know, when like where you really lose me is like you don't make me feel bad for the characters that like I think I should be feeling bad for, and then it's like, well, should I be feeling bad for or not? Right. And then when you don't really know what you're supposed to feel, it's like oh well, the movie kind of didn't do its job at that point.
I hear you.
At least to me, but yeah,
that's fair.
Yeah, all right, well, there's our thoughts, folks, on The Substance. Leave a comment down below. Let us know what you thought of The Substance. If you're listening or watching over on Spotify, I think there's a place to leave a comment too, but you can find us on social media. Go to our website, harshlanguage.tv, and then we have links to all our shit, Twitter, YouTube, Discord. Join the Discord. Join in on the conversation.
Do it.
Tell us you hate us.
Yes.
Yeah. If you made it this far and you heard the our conversation about Severance, just a reminder, we will be covering it every week, so check back with us. And next week is Make Marvin Watch Week, where we make Marvin watch some shit that he hasn't seen before, and this is Dusty's month,
Madison
and he
Productions.
picked Happy Gilmore, the classic. Shockingly, Marvin hasn't seen it, although I'm not shocked by anything anymore.
I mean, I've seen quite a bit of Adam Sandler, but this just isn't one of them.
Yep. So if you've enjoyed the show or any portion of it that you've watched, consider subscribing if you have not done so. You know, I was taking a look, Marvin. The vast majority of our viewers are not subscribed, so I don't know what the fuck you guys are doing. Yeah, that's crazy.
That's weird.
So
it's like they don't want to be notified when we drop new videos or something.
I know, it's crazy. So consider subscribing if you have not done so. Leave a like on the video. It helps us out. But most importantly, share your thoughts down below. That's what we really care about. We want to talk movies and shows with everybody. So do those things, and we will be back next week. We hope to see you then. Thanks for hanging out.
See ya.
Basta.